I want to talk about the top tables and how this meta is presenting itself right now. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that data button so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. So this is very interesting because as Swiss develops, we get the chance to actually see, you know, how is the top structured end of our meta looking? You know, is it a lot more diverse than we kind of expected? You know, are we expecting, you know, this format to get flushed down the toilet and for it to be bad? Just straight take a second to digest this. This is all of the different decks. Now, a lot of this is going to be overlap. I'm not going to lie to you and say, you know, every one of these decks is systematically different because it's a lot of different engine plug-in to engine working here. Now, branded Draco Tail ended up having the highest seeded amount so far. There's 10 of them within the top tables at round 10, which I'm not particularly shocked about that. I sound like a broken record at this point saying that, but honestly, branded Draco Tail is kind of one of those decks that you look at and you're like, yeah, I can fundamentally understand why, you know, this deck is doing as well as it is. Now, Vanquishal K9, we're down to 3 of these. You know, a lot of players were predicting that Vanquishal K9 was supposed to be this godsend deck, you know, second best deck in the room, but it's kind of falling a little bit short of the mark, and that's not necessarily, I guess, a terrible thing, but when you are seeing shifts in numbers like this, I can't help but find that a little bit interesting. We also had 3 Lunalights. Now, this one is the one that I keep talking about. You know, this is supposed to be the big boogeyman in the room. People aren't prepared for this, and I would have loved to have seen this number be a little bit bigger, but the truth is, it depends on, you know, what the variant is. I'm wondering if they've foregone the branded cards at this point, because there was discussion last format where, you know, you would build the branded stuff into the deck, because the goal was, you know, slam branded fusion on the table. I mean, you're already going to be fusion locked anyway, so, you know, you could potentially bait a hand trap away from your opponent. It didn't seem like a terrible idea on paper, but, you know, when push comes to shove, I can understand if they've cut it for, you know, brighter, greener pastures. Now, we did have 2 branded Magistus Draco Tail, so like the branded Draco Tail, this is where you're slotting in the Magistus cards, and the deck does feel a little bit more bloated for what you're able to do, but it's supposed to be one of those more bloating or larger choices within the deck. It's supposed to unlock additional features for you to work with. So, I mean, there's a logic to this, whether or not it's a sound one or not, you know, will be seen as we get into Top Cut here. We also had 2 Radiant Typhoon Yummy. We saw this popping up a little bit out of the Kong's Cards event. I don't necessarily think that this is all that shocking to be seeing, but I find it very interesting that it's been a good idea doing its thing. I also love the fact that K9 Vanquishal is mentioned twice here on this. Konami, why do we have 3 and 5 and 2? Okay, so I guess we had 5 Vanquishal K9 in Top Cut. Okay. We also had Bestial Ignister at Ignister Malice. Yeah, you do have, it looks like 2 Malice variants, because I do see an Ignister Malice down below. So I guess, did you want to play Bestials or did you not want to build Bestials into this? We also have the Sulfa Cord Yummy list. I'm not all that surprised to hear that either, looking at the Top Cut for this event, because honestly, Sulfa Cord with Yummy was kind of just a match that has been working for a little while. If you were looking at last format data, you would see a lot of the combinations that were being put together for that, and it was quite cool to see. We also had a Risle Mitsurugi variant coming along. I am not surprised to see Risle Mitsu even being mentioned here, because it's one of those decks. It's like, if I can open up Ice all day long, baby, that deck is going to feel like just some of the most unfair BS that you can do. And it does feel a little bit high rolly. I mean, you don't have really any of the crazy combinations to bridge into the other packages, but it's one of those cases of when it actually does go, it does go. We also had Tri-Brigade Radiant Typhoon. So this is basically, actually, You're just using this for like the Wing Beast overlays, you know, because I mean, when you're sharing types amongst each other, you know, Tri wants to feed on Beast, Beast, Warrior, and Wing Beast. So, you know, you are kind of getting that little bit of work going for you. We also had branded Fiendsmith Elf Note. I want to see this. I want to see what this Elf Note player is cooking, because I am very intrigued with this. This was the Synchro piles that we'd seen coming up in the OCG that were doing very, very strongly. And also, you know, Armades being a reverse pivot for you to go into is really, really good to start Fiendsmith combo. I mean, yeah, we don't have Moon of the Mini Underworld Goddess anymore, but I mean, who cares, right? As long as you're able to effectively reverse engineer and go into combo, it's all that matters. We also have K9 Onomatomat Risle. You just cut out the Mitsurugi cards and play some K9 stuff, I guess. Which I guess is okay in hindsight. I don't know, man. The K9 cards have been some of the most interesting ones to kind of talk about and analyze out of this weekend. I'm not saying that, you know, they're necessarily dead, but like it's a little bit of a coin flip what the results are going to be. We also had 2 Cristron K9. Good job to this deck. The deck is still very much raging on and doing very, very nicely. And I mean, as long as you can get to Riverstormer, deck feels like the best Yu-Gi-Oh deck you can ever have. We've also got Pure Branded, which is okay. We also had Radiant Typhoon Pure. I mean, okay. We also had a For Hire K9 deck. Now, this is really freaking funny because the way that this deck functions is it's able to basically use the level 5 For Hire stuff that we just got to basically kind of pad you down and basically protect you so that you can kind of get that initial little setup and go. And honestly, I think that was some of the best consistency that you could get. Once again, I mean, this also proves, you know, how good that the K9 package can actually be. And they were talking about on stream that the K9 package this weekend was going to be putting in a lot of overtime for a lot of players. I can honestly agree with that. I think the K9 package is probably some of the best solid groundwork that you can kind of build up in this format right now, because there's just so much you can do. And I mean, there's also a reason why Noroi has gone up in price. I mean, Noroi has turned into probably the best normal summon that you can have, because it brings on an extra body and it gets you the ability to toggle into your opponent's hand and take a look at what's going on in there. Those are things that shouldn't be allowed, but they are. We also had branded Radiant Typhoon. I can only imagine the crazy bad vibe. Like, I think this sounds so terrible on paper, but just because it sounds terrible doesn't mean that it's not functionally going to work as a deck, because that's not how Yu-Gi-Oh works. Yu-Gi-Oh functionally tells us that if it probably sounds bad on paper, it's probably going to be a good idea. We also had Momento. No matter how much you put this deck down, I'm telling you, man, Momento finds a way to claw its ass back out of that abyss and still continues to be one of those decks that you're just like, oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to forget about you. We've also got another Malice deck. So there are 3 Malice decks in Top Cut. Okay. We also had Pure Mitsurugi. Crazy. We also had a Tri-Brigade Yummy, which, once again, this is the using the kit to be able to go through the Nerval, get the Shirog set up, and basically kind of use the compensation that the engines give you to functionally work out. And we also had a branded Mitsurugi variant, also kind of bringing up the rear here as well. Honestly, not a terrible chunk of list. I just, it's so interesting just to see, like, we're in a very engine-driven format right now, where you can plug out one engine, plug in another engine, and you can effectively create a different deck based on that. Now, who do I think is going to be walking away the winner? I probably still think branded Draco Tail, honestly. There are surprises that can happen here. I mean, you're looking at, what, well, 20 different potential decks that are doing well right now. And I mean, that's a good sign of a healthy format, but, you know, branded Draco Tail can tip those scales at any time, so we'll have to wait and see. So please, leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.